you ask them why they don't leave, they'll give you excuses like, we love each other, we've been through so much together, we have kids together, I don't know where to go after I leave here. Like, they are usually so protective of the relationship, or just having excuses for them on why they wouldn't move on. Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. My name is Sheila Munywoki, and today I'm back with another episode. If you see me looking down, it's because I have a book and I need to remember everything that I'm going to be talking about so that I don't forget the important points. Yeah, so today we'll be talking about karmic partners, karmic relationships, what they are, what they should be, what they're meant to be, what you should do with karmic relationships and all. So yeah, so basically, and I know not many people have heard the name karmic people, karmic partners, karmic relationships, and everyone has karmic partner. Everyone in the world has a karmic partner, one way or the other. So what karmic partners are people or souls that you make contracts with before you come into this lifetime, so that they help you learn lessons that you need to learn in this lifetime. I mean, like, these are people who come into your life to help you learn some lessons in life. Have you ever had the quote of, some people come into your life for a reason, others for a lesson? Is it usually like that? But I think it's usually like that. So yeah, so these karmic partners are usually in your life for a lesson, not for like eternity or something like that. They just are supposed to come. It's very cold, by the way. They are supposed to come into your lifetime to teach you a lesson, and then they're supposed to leave. Like, your contracts should end after you've learned your lessons, after you as a soul has realized the lessons that you were meant to learn in that lifetime with this karmic partner. And each of us has a karmic partner, and until we learn a certain lesson that we're supposed to learn, we will never like get rid of karmic partners. Like, if you get in a relationship with someone and you're supposed to learn a certain lesson with this person, and you don't, and then you leave that relationship, and then you go to another one, you'll end up getting more karmic partners over and over again until you learn the lesson that you're meant to learn. So if you truly just never learn, your whole life will be just a karmic partner after karmic partner in the a karmic partner. So most of the time we don't really understand karmic relationships, and most of us have been conditioned or have grown up in families where our parents have karmic partners, our friends that we have in karmic relationships, our sisters, our brothers, they're just in karmic relationships. So we actually think that what relationships should be is karmic. Like, the relationships should have a vibe of karmic relationships. Some of us just never get really to learn what a sacred relationship is, or a soulmate, or a twin flame, because most of the time these relationships are meant to be sacred. So let me explain what a karmic relationship is, how to detect one, to see if you're in one relationship that is karmic or something like that. Or maybe you have been in a karmic relationship before you found your soulmate or your sacred person who now like helps you get in that sacred relationship. As always, my baby is just down here playing with everything, honestly, everything. So yeah. Anyways, let's continue. So a karmic partner can be your narcissistic boyfriend, can be your abusive ex-husband, it can be like anyone who brings you a bad vibe, a vibe, vibration, and frequencies. I talk about vibrations a lot and frequencies. Yeah. I should like make a video explaining what these things are, right? Or maybe if I haven't, maybe I have. I don't know. When this video comes out, I will know if I had or I hadn't. Anyways, so number one, when you meet a soul who's supposed to be a karmic partner in your life, most of the time you find this relationship just hit instantly. The connection is just familiar. Like, it's almost like you know this person. You always feel like this person has been in your life before, like you know them. Which can make a lot of people get confused between a soulmate and a karmic partner. At the end of the day, these souls have been in your life before, other lifetimes, and now this is another life. And obviously, if you've met them in previous lifetimes, they're going to feel familiar. So most of the time, people will confuse this for a soulmate. So you meet them, and then you'll be like, they just feel so familiar. It's almost like I've known them before. We have this connection and this chemistry. So the chemistry comes in when now you start getting to know each other. It mostly starts with a sexual like connection and chemistry. You find that you're so sexually attracted to these people. You think that it's a lifetime kind of a relationship, a soulmate. Like this sexual tension. Um, Let me say this: most of these karmic relationships happen because the only connection that is there is usually just sexual relationships. So most of the time you find that if this sexual tension is removed, there's nothing in that relationship. You cannot say that there is a good relationship between the all of you, because once the sexual tension is removed, there's nothing. You can't like say that this is a good person, I like them because of this and this, we have this kind of a connection. So most of the time we will confuse karmic relationships or sexual tension with true love. And since we don't really like know what true love is, we haven't experienced that before, we just end up feeling this void of wanting a true relationship with um karmic partners. Number two, when you meet them, you always know something is off. Like you always have this feeling like something is off. Yes, we have this good chemistry. We look good together. They are handsome. They're giving me everything that I've ever wanted in life. Quote unquote. But they always this feeling in your heart that tells you that this is not it. Like there's something off, that this is going to end in premium tears. But then since we want this connection, we feel like if I let go of this, maybe I will never find someone else who will make me feel like this. Trust you me, I have had that feeling for a very long time. I've always been confused, like I like this person, we have chemistry, and what if I let them go and then they're my soulmates? If your soulmate comes, you will just know. And if they're soulmates, they'll never leave. The relationship is already meant to be, so they will still be here. I mean, I am not afraid of losing someone just because we have a connection anymore. If we have a connection and it's meant to be, it's going to be. But if it's just a connection that should fade over time, it's still going to fade. I mean, I'm not here to really pray and get so obsessed with getting a partner that I'm willing to risk my own sanity for a few months of drama. Number four, in karmic relationships, they always drama and conflict. God, that is so obvious. Most of these relationships end up being a trauma bonding relationship, or a lot of bonding wounds. Like, since the foundation of this relationship is merely just a sexual tension, the foundation is just not something concrete that you can say that there's a soul connection. When I say a soul connection, is like someone who like gets you on a soul level. It's not like interested in you on your physical features and all that. Someone who can overlook how you look and see the who you are on the inside. Like this person sees who you are and not what you look like, what other people say. It's not about that. So based on a karma that you need to like get cleared, this karmic partner will come into your life based on that. So this person also brings out the shadow side of you. I mean, every partner, even a soulmate, should bring like, most partners should bring a shadow side of you. When I say a shadow side, is like the side you don't like seeing. You don't like seeing about yourself. You don't like people telling you that you have, like, it's a side that you don't like at all. So a twin flame partner can bring that side of you, because they're meant to bring a shadow side of you so that you can acknowledge it and see where you should change, what you should change about yourself, what is good for you, what is not good for you. But with karmic relationships, they just bring out the shadow side of you, but never the best side of you. uh a soulmate can bring a shadow side of you and also a best side of you, because if they're not bringing the best side of you, then isn't that not healthy relationship? The connection feels heavy, feels like you're the one who's carrying the weight of the world for this relationship, feels like you're the one who's controlling the relationship, you're the one who takes a responsibility for everything. Let's just take this as a narcissistic relationship. So the way a heavy relationship that is narcissistic feels kind of feels the same way. Number 7, passionate energies. The sexual tension now starts to fade once you realize what your lessons for being in this relationship are. Like when you realize what you are meant to learn in this relationship, the passion, the sexual tension, it all disappears. It just disintegrates into nothingness, and then now everything starts to you start to see everything clearly. Now, what I'm trying to say is, like, towards the end of the relationship, when now you've already cleared your karma, when you've already cleared your karma, the relationship just starts to feel like it's not happening. Everything starts to get boring. The person whom your relationship with starts to also get boring. Like a lot of things starts happening that weren't happening before. Number 8, have you ever been in a relationship where you didn't feel like you were safe? Like you don't have trust for this person. You start to feel like they're cheating all the time. You can't trust them that they won't bring you some sicknesses, or they won't like take care of your heart. They will obviously do go out there and do something that is going to hurt you. Like you just can't trust them. You're not feeling safe with them. Your heart, your mental health, your even money. Like you don't just trust them. Like that feeling of safety just fades, and there's nothing anymore. There's just more drama and less safety, or less safe. Yeah. Number 9, in karmic relationship, there's a lot of codependency. When I say codependency, it's like let's say relationship which is abusive. Someone who is emotionally abusive, they will make you take responsibility for everything that they do, making you feel like you're the one who's made them do this certain thing that is not good for your relationship, and then you'll always feel like you're the one who's responsible for them, and you should like you should like walk on eggshells to like prevent them from hurting you, you know. Yeah. So in a relationship like that, the person who blames the other person for their own mistakes, it's usually codependency. Like they make you feel bad so that they can feel better about themselves, which is not really healthy at all. They project the insecurity towards you to make them feel better about themselves. So in a codependency relationship, it's not really usually a nice thing, and ends up being abusive, narcissistic. Mostly I just talk about narcissistic and abusive because mostly that is what we as humans are going through, and it's raising at a very high rate, especially right now. The bond between you becomes a trauma bond, a wound bond, and nothing that is really positive. Number 10, these relationships can be very hard to release, to let go of, because so many people who are in a karmic relationship, let's say abusive and narcissistic, because all these are just karmic relationships. When you ask them why they don't leave, they'll give you excuses like, we love each other, we've been through so much together, we have kids together, I don't know where to go after I leave here. Like they are usually so protective of the relationship, or just having excuses for them on why they wouldn't move on. This can make so many people get stuck in karmic relationships, which could end up being like the soul contracts could take longer than they were supposed to be, and then you're stuck in a really karmic relationship for like the whole of your life because you were too scared of moving on. And then when you're 50, that is when you realize that you need to move on. Like now you've wasted a whole like half of your life just trying to change someone who wouldn't change, and whose purpose in life wasn't supposed to change. And I mean, if you guys let each other go a while earlier, maybe you would even be happier. You'd even have found your soulmate. I mean, if when we plan our lives, you obviously want the best for ourselves. Our souls wants for us to get the best things in life and enjoy life and understand, like, be enlightened the best that we can. But if we spend our life being stuck in the same situation, the same problems that we have, just because we're too scared of moving on, we feel like this is the best love that we could ever get, or we feel like people will be talking bad about us, or that what are people going to say, those all those humanly excuses. We end up being in relationships we don't really want to, and we just end up being so unhappy a whole like lifetime, and then we have to come back again and try different something different. In which case, why would you want to waste this lifetime when you could do so much with it? So some of the mistakes that we make in the karmic relationships are we have extended our soul contracts, which should have lasted for a year, and then now they're like 50 years old. So we end up affecting so many other people in the process, and just being so unhappy ourselves when our soul mission in life is just to be happy and learn lessons and just be happy. Basically, just happiness is the sole uh, goal of this life and learning lessons. Coming relationships are meant to be temporary, so we just extend them to be way too longer than they should be. Another thing is that karmic relationships prepare us for sacred relationships. So if you meet a couple of karmic relationships that you're meant to learn something, and you do learn the lessons that you're meant to learn, then you have learned everything that you need to learn in this lifetime, and you end up being happy meeting a soulmate, like a twin flame, whichever sacred relationship you're meant to have. So some people will want to get out of the relationship once they realize that they are in a karmic relationship. But what should happen is you should sit down, truly understand that you are in a karmic relationship, know what lessons you are meant to learn in that relationship, and probably write them down because you don't want to forget them. And then once you move on, you can remember that you're not supposed to be doing this, you're supposed to be doing this, and that you are loved, you are important, and you are a magnificent being, and no one should tell you otherwise. You deserve the best, you are loved, and the universe or the earth is just, you are here for a certain time, and you just have your lessons to learn. Let's say, for example, you are in a class 2. So if you go to this class and once the exam comes, you don't really pass, then you have to repeat that class over and over again until you truly learn what you're supposed to learn. So that is what I'm trying to say that the universe does. So in this environment right now, in the earth right now, once you go for class, you don't really have to pass and pass and pass. You just have to go through the class. But in the universe kind of school, you have to learn what you're supposed to learn. So if you come on this earth and you meet your karmic partner and you don't learn anything, that cycle will continue happening until you truly learn what you are supposed to learn with this karmic partner. And I don't believe that once you have, let's say, for example, in your past life you hit someone, and maybe they became crippled or something like that. I don't believe that in this lifetime this person has to hit you so that you can become crippled. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. So what I think is you have to like go through a certain pain that this someone went through that you never truly understand, so that you can really understand a lesson of doing this to someone is not right. Because if it were you, then you wouldn't want this something done to you exactly that way, right? So basically that is what I believe karma does, or how it works. So in order to um, move on from karmic relationships, you have to learn your lesson, so that you can move on. But if you move on without learning your lesson, you'll keep on meeting more karmic partners and more karmic partners and more karmic partners, people with the same traits, so that you can learn your lesson. That is why you find that some men or women, some people just end up in relationships with the same type of women, and the same thing keeps on happening. Like, you from this relationship and this person cheated on you, you never learned any lesson. And then you go to another relationship, this person also cheats on you, you never learn any lesson. Next time it still happens. So if the cycle continues, then you have to look within you, so that you can see like what really is happening and what you're supposed to learn in these relationships. Is there's this quote that goes like, I don't know how it really goes. So it goes like, if you enter a room and then it smells like shit and you leave, it smells like shit, you leave. But then if you go to another room and the same room smells like shit, then you have to look from your shoe or the shoe. I don't know what that means. Like how it's said, you have to like look at your shoe, because if every room you go to it smells like shit, then you're probably the one who's smelling like shit, not the rooms. So yeah, you have to look at the shit inside of you so that you can know which shit is it, and why is it smelling so much. Oh my god, that is a horrible example. Anyways, so most of the people will realize that they're in a karmic relationship, but then they'll get stuck in these relationships because they feel like, I'm trying to learn a lesson, I'm trying to learn a lesson, I'm trying to learn a lesson, and then they just end up being in the same relationship for so long, just telling themselves that I have to learn a lesson, I have to learn a lesson. That is not it. Once you learn your lesson, my dear, leave. You don't need to be in karmic relationships forever. Your life, your soul is waiting for a soul connection with someone who understands you on a deeper level, who you understand on a deeper level. So you don't really need to be in karmic relationships to learn something, right? Anyways, I think that is it that I have for this video. Thank you so much for staying tuned. My baby kind of slept and then he's now waking up again. It's so hard to make these videos with such a tiny human being. So guys, see you in the next video. I hope this has been helpful. And well, if you have any questions, just write them in the comment section. And well, see you on the next episode. I love you guys. Bye.